What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. Absolutely brutal news for the Marvels. It appears now that, by the way, did you know this? The movie comes out in like a week. Did you even know that? I guess it's technically 2 weeks. Have you seen commercials for it? Have you seen ads for it? I haven't. I see when they release a new trailer, it's on Twitter. Well, now it would appear that Disney knows this movie is terrible, and they have placed an absurd embargo on all reviews so that they don't come out. You are not allowed to publish a review on the Marvels until just hours before the movie releases. Let me ask you one very simple question. If you have a product that you think is good and you need to generate buzz for it, would you be telling people that they couldn't release the review till hours before the movie premieres? Of course not. You'd be telling everyone, if you had a good product, you'd be telling them to release their reviews now. They've already delayed the movie so many times. I mean, the freaking McDonald's toys came out 6 months ago, practically. They've completely botched all of the advertising up into this fact. And the only positive stories I've seen, and this is kind of hilarious, the only positive stories about the Marvels that I've seen is that it's a short runtime, which probably means that they absolutely chopped tons and tons of stuff from this movie because it stinks. And we're going to get into this after a super quick word from this video sponsor. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Sheath. Look, fellas, particularly, I know it can be a little bit weird to be thinking about changing out your underwear, something you've been wearing basically the same thing for as long as you can remember. But allow me to give you a couple of reasons why, and plus ladies, Sheath also has a lot for you as well. Look, fellas, first of all, the boxers are designed to keep your balls off your legs. Sheath has 2 individual compartments to keep everything down there, separate and comfortable. Traditional boxer briefs are barbaric, invented during the Neanderthal era. Sheath has a modern ergonomic design intended to prevent skin-on-skin contact for long durations, which can build heat, sweat, and smell, fellas. There's an inverted kangaroo pouch for your Joey to keep you from sticking to your thigh. You'll chafe and readjust less because everything is cool and in a separate compartment. They were invented by a U.S. Army soldier who came up with the idea for Sheath during his second tour in Iraq, where it was hot as heck and his boys needed to breathe. He invented these underwear to keep your boys cool and comfortable. He's basically a hero. And again, I know it's a weird thing to think about changing, but I'm telling you, once you try Sheath's products, men and women, there's a wide variety of sizes available. I think you're really going to love them. So click the link below and use code TheQuartering at checkout, or go to sheathunderwear.com/TheQuartering for 20% off. And hey, you'd be doing your balls a huge favor. Yeah, I know it's weird. Think about new undergarments, fellas and ladies, but highly recommend giving Sheath a try. They've been a long-term sponsor of the channel, and I really think you're going to like their quality. Disney stopping bad reviews for the Marvels. Thanks to more off-screen shenanigans than anything else, the Captain Marvel movie ended up generating plenty of controversy and subsequently review brigading on popular sites such as Rotten Tomatoes. By the way, something that I don't like, and I support 100%, Rotten Tomatoes putting in this verified reviews thing where you have to actually show that you bought the movie or paid to see the movie. The problem is they've never really implemented it like they said. It's particularly useless when a movie comes out on streaming because there's no real way to prove that you saw the movie. So they're still curating reviews anyway, but that's neither here nor there. So as now confirmed that Disney has effectively a review embargo in place of the Marvels, the follow-up to Captain Marvel adventure that will team up with cosmic character with popular teen superhero. She's not popular, Miss Marvel. I guess maybe in India or whatever. While it's possible. And that's not a tiny market. I mean, I don't mean to diminish that. I mean, Bollywood's gigantic, right? While it's possible that the House of the Mouse is trying to sidestep another round of review brigading, there's also a very serious chance this movie is a huge mess, and they wish to hide that fact as long as possible. You can see this. Looks like the first reactions for the Marvels will drop November 7th at 9 p.m. Pacific. 9 p.m. at night, by the way. Reviews drop the next morning, November 8th. The film arrives in theaters everywhere on November 10th, but the thing is, it's also in most theaters on November 9th. Where I live, you can see the movies on Thursdays. November 10th is a Friday, I believe. So, November 9th, Thursday's preview day. A lot of, Hollywood started including Thursday box offices to pump up their weekend numbers. So you have no time. There's no time for reviews to disseminate at all whatsoever before people have to pay to see the movie. As you can tell from these dates, it will be entirely possible for fans to read various critics' reviews ahead of the Marvels coming out, but it will be a very narrow window. The reviews drop on November 8th, and the film releases on Friday, November 10th. Again, it comes out Thursday, the 9th. Diehard Marvel fans are likely to pre-order their tickets ahead of time to watch the film as early as Thursday, November 9th in most locations. There you go. Put it together, and it really does look like Disney wants to get as many pre-order tickets for the Marvels as possible before negative reviews fully end the already tepid momentum for the film. We say the momentum is tepid because right now the box office projections for the Marvels are looking grim. According to Deadline, the sequel is expected to gross somewhere between $75 and $80 million in its opening weekend. In comparison, that's about half of what Captain Marvel bought. Now, I don't think it's fair to compare the two. Captain Marvel, again, I will be honest. Captain Marvel was I don't think it was a great movie, but I think Marvel has put out a lot of movies that aren't great. But it made $1 billion. It made $1 billion because it was billed as required reading for Endgame. It also came out at the absolute peak of superhero madness when a movie like Aquaman could gross $1 billion. Now, that isn't to discriminate against Aquaman, but that movie had no right making over $1 billion in the theaters. People were seeing literally every superhero movie that came out for no other reason than it was a superhero movie. It was a money printing era for Hollywood that they overextended. They overplayed their hands on it. Now people don't care about these movies as much. And I think that, people talk about superhero fatigue. I actually have my own theory on that. I don't think that it's superhero fatigue. I think that, these movies started coming out when I was in my early 20s, okay? Do I care as much now about bad CGI and cringe Gen Z jokes? Do I care about that now that I'm 40? It's not that I'm like over superhero movies because I was excited. I pre-ordered tickets to see Joker. I pre-ordered tickets to see Sonic and Sonic 2, okay? So there is still plenty of Super Mario made $1 billion. Now, these aren't superhero movies, but I lump them together. They're targeting the same consumers, the pop vinyl customers, things like that, okay? So, yeah, there is some superhero fatigue, but I think it's also because the quality has also gone way down. I mean, Kamala Khan and Monica Rambeau, that's your trio. Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, which is already shaky. You have Nick Fury, which fine, okay, but Cats. It's like the stupid Taika Waititi like Taika Waititi killed Thor. Okay, now there's a reason he's not a part of Thor 5. Taika Waititi made Thor the butt of every joke in that movie. It was cringe, the scream, everything. I mean, like that last Thor movie was probably the worst. Thor: Love and Thunder, between Natalie Portman's lame performance mailing it in and all the cringe jokes. I think that Thor: Love and Thunder is easily the worst Thor. And that, I don't know if that's controversial or not, but a lot of people say Dark World wasn't very good, but and that's fair, but that Love and Thunder was an abomination, okay? Anyway, so they talk about fatigue, but I don't necessarily buy that. I think it's people have crap fatigue. They're sick of paying to see crap movies, especially when it's more expensive than ever and people have less expendable income. None of these websites actually take a second to look at what the average consumer has had to endure in 2023, okay, and 2022, really, ever since the lockdowns, okay? People's money is going a lot less. It's going a lot less far. Okay, gas is extremely expensive. Groceries are extremely expensive. If a night at the movies costs you, unless you can be smart about it, you can go see a matinee. You don't have to buy popcorn. You don't have to buy sodas. But if I'm just gonna sit on some sticky Ford theater, I'll just watch it at home. Okay. People go to the movies to get the popcorn, to get the big slushie, to get the Raisinets. Do people get Raisinets? I've never seen anyone eat them. I'm convinced that they're the same boxes that were there since the 70s. But Snow Cap, Skittles, all the snacks and stuff. That's why people go to the movies, okay? They want to go and get a little under the sweater, over the bra action, okay? That's what you go to the movies for. Otherwise, you just watch it at home. That's why Netflix and chill became a thing. Okay. The idea that, people aren't making having to make tougher financial decisions has never crossed the minds of these consume media outlets in Hollywood, right? Forbes is already running damage control. Marvel should brace for poor Marvel's performance, even if it's good. We're now just 2 weeks away from the Marvels. The film is not just a follow-up to Captain Marvel, but also a follow-up to WandaVision. Don't care. WandaVision started out interesting and then fell apart. Like, I was supposed to cheer for Wanda. She was the villain. Anyway, at this point, it does not seem like it will matter much at all if the movie's actually good. Captain Marvel was an okay MCU film. I'd agree with that. But we are living in a very different era now, and it feels like the key case in Disney's overcomplicated movie TV process at the moment. One that Kevin Feige has already said they're going to streamline in the future, with less shows made to directly serve movies, like 3 examples we're seeing here. For the Marvels, in order to know anything about Monica Rambeau and her powers, you need to have seen WandaVision, which covered that entire storyline. Or get a proper introduction to Kamala Khan, you have to watch Ms. Marvel, which was in fact one of Disney's least watched series ever, despite having high critical ratings. Well, come on, of course, it's a brown actress. You're going to get high scores. The only show you can safely skip is probably Secret Invasion, which seems like it was deliberately designed to be ignored by the Marvels, which Sam Jackson's Nick Fury back on the spaceship again by the end. Don't watch it. Trust me, I doubt it's going to be referenced at all. We would just seem to be living in a very different era than Captain Marvel when it made $1.1 billion at the box office, but not just Marvel. You recall DC. See, I said the same thing. Paul and I do agree on some things. This is Paul Tassi. Aquaman made $1 billion. Its upcoming sequel is not likely to get anywhere near that after a string of misses by the studios. For Phase 5, that technically began with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which debuted with low critic scores and ended up a run with under $500 million at the global box office, just over Marvel's supposedly worst MCU movie before that. Phase 4's The Eternals, which only did $400 million. Technically, Guardians Volume 3 was a Phase 5 movie, but that was James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy swan song, disconnected from anything else important going on in the MCU. That did well with $845 million, but ticket pre-sales for the Marvels are trending at a third of Guardians of the Galaxy. Very, very low for a big Marvel film. There's been no press push at all for the film either, because the release window is in the middle of the actors' strike, so none of them can promote it, on top of everything else. I do not have a good feeling about the Marvels. Marketing is all over the place, and you wouldn't really know to look forward to it at all that much unless you were a super fan of the first movie, or you watch Ms. Marvel and you wanted to see the excellent Iman Vellani do more with Kamala. But given how few people did watch that show, it's not a big portion of the potential audience. Take my word for it, Vellani's the best cast actor in the MCU since Tony Stark's Iron Man. I don't know. It's a kid. I don't know why Paul's that excited about a kid for teenage girl, or show for teen girls, but whatever. This has nothing to do with whether Marvels will flop or not. It just does not seem like a good moment for this project, and there seems to be relatively little excitement as it draws closer. Oh yeah, it's going to flop, baby, and flop hard. And hopefully Marvel will get back to the drawing board and deliver a high-quality product, because the longer they keep pushing out Drek, the longer we're going to stay away. The fewer, the less fan service they do, the less listening to the fans they do, the less fans there will be. And that's just the way it goes. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. And if you haven't yet, please do subscribe down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.